everybody. This is dear old Dad and Sons Gaming, and today I want to show you what I used in the Stone Cold Steve Captain America build that I had a showcase of earlier on. Uh, Again, nothing new here, but I'm pretty sure you've seen some of this before. But let's get into what I have down here. Let's start off with our gear. First piece we got is the helm of the super soldier. That's going to give us 18% increased damage on rally cry, 30% increased stun damage from Brooklyn Brawler. That's important. And then we have an increase in damage from Brooklyn Brawler. Also important. Secondly, we've got the battle plate of the super soldier that gives us a 20%, or excuse me, a 20-point shield block energy when we successfully parry an enemy. We get an 18% damage reduction when Rally Cry is active, and we increase the duration of Brooklyn Brawler by 8.5 seconds. That last perk is what we're building on as well. Here in the range area, I just have a stat stick, if you will, just something to boost my stats, not really taking advantage of the Tachyon surge here, just getting my numbers and stats up. The cryo does come in handy to slow enemies down, but really not a focal point of what I'm doing. And lastly, you have Harbinger of the Nomad, 15% damage reduction while Brooklyn Brawler is active. Signature active Vibranium, and then 14.7% chance to automatically activate Captain's defense when taking damage, completely negating the attack. Again, we're focusing in on the top perk that's giving us another damage reduction while Brooklyn Brawler is active. We got a damage reduction for Rally Cry, 15%, and then we've got a damage reduction for Brooklyn Brawler, and we're going to be running those things pretty much simultaneously. All right, for the skills we have to set this up, remember that we got the increased damage, stun damage from one of our pieces. So stun is what we're all into. As far as it goes here for Rally Cry, I just have that it taunts the enemies, brings them within your proximity, draws aggro. And for the second one, critical attacks on enemies marked with Rally Cry deal 50% bonus damage. So that's what I want. We want the stun to build up so we can do our takedowns. Steamroller, I'd have an additional charge, and then I have every 2 enemies defeated by a Steamroller heroic orb. We want a heroic orb, so we continue to have Rally Cry up because we're going to have Brooklyn Brawler going much, much longer. And if for some reason we lose Brooklyn Brawler within the time of us, our encounters, these heroic energies, orbs and energies, is going to help us out to go back into it. And of course, for Brooklyn Brawler, we've got the CQC Specialist, and that's Brooklyn Brawler's active takedowns can be performed on critically wounded enemies. So we don't even have to wait for a stun meter. We can actually go on in when we've got him in critical. That's really important because that's giving us a heroic orb, it's keeping our abilities up. And it's a whole lot of fun just to walk up and be able to take down large majority of the enemies that you're encountering. And here, takedowns extend Brooklyn Brawler by 3 seconds. So again, we're staying in Brooklyn Brawler longer. We've got the extension from our gear. We've got the damage reduction from our gear. We've got the damage boost from our gear. So this is all centered around being in Brooklyn Brawler for as long as we can be in it. And then Rally Cry is helping us out because it's debuffing our enemies, and they're going to take more damage if they're marked by Rally Cry. So the two of those together are a great buff debuff. If I've said anything like that before, buff debuff, giving yourself a buff and doing something to weaken your enemies. A great combination here. And Captain America does it very well. In the masteries here, nothing highly important. Increasing the damage of light and heavy combos. Brooklyn Brawler has a specialized light attack. It's very fast and it does a lot of damage, so we're just increasing the finisher for that. So that last hit of Brooklyn Brawler is going to do 25% more damage than it's already doing. Here, boost heroic speed by 1% when dealing damage with light or heavy attacks. That's just attacks in general. And of course, Brooklyn Brawler has, again, like I said, a very fast attack, and it hits multiple times. So we're getting 1% for every hit. We're getting our heroic energy back. Even when we're making orbs, if we can't make orbs, if we can't do the takedown to get our orbs or defeat enemies get orbs, we get 1% every time we hit with either a light or heavy attack with this pick. So we can still get to our abilities pretty quickly. And of course, performing a takedown forces an enemy to drop a heroic orb. That's how we're going to stay, our ability staying up so we can do rally cry over and over again. On top of, if we need to, we can go back and apply Brooklyn Brawler as well. All right, range attacks, just a flat thing. Like I said, not really concerned about range attacks, but a 15% damage and speed for our shield throws. And of course, our power throws do more stun damage. We want to continue to stun so we can do our takedowns. Then we have Precision Heroic Dynamo, 50% chance to create heroic orbs when defeating enemies with headshots. And I do believe this also works with Steamroller. There are times when I'm using this, as you can see in the video, and it may not defeat the enemy, but a headshot drops a heroic orb. And I think that even works with Steamroller. Our efficiencies, we just have a 40% intrinsic shield block recovery when performing a takedown. So if we're not parrying, we're doing takedowns, and that's putting our intrinsic energy back up. Then I've got an increase to the intrinsic energy by 50%. And here, grant a burst of 20 points when we perform a parry, which also stacks with the gear perk we have that gives us 20 points of shield block energy when we do a successful parry. So we'll always have our intrinsic ability up. Captain America doesn't have an overcharge ability. He doesn't overcharge, but very, very good. He's one of the best parriers on the game, and he's very effective with his parry and counter. And our intrinsic ability, we have Captain's Defense. The buff is increased by 8 seconds. And it's triggered by Commander's Call, which is one of your intrinsic abilities. And having that Captain's Defense duration extended by 8 seconds gives us another defensive buff to ourselves. We're tankier, we can take more damage. Here again, further, it reduced the cost of intrinsic attacks, so I can do this more frequently. It doesn't take as much to do Commander's Call or Commander's Parry. If you're into it, that helps out a whole lot with not draining your intrinsic bar and then constantly having the intrinsic energy up. And on the third slot, we've got, while Captain's Defense buff is active, blocking attacks drain no intrinsic energy. So for the times we have Commander's Call up, we're not going to have any intrinsic energy dropped, any intrinsic energy drained. And that's a big plus there to keep on having our intrinsic ability up to continue to block, continue to activate Commander's Call or Commander's Parry. And it's really nice to have that there. All right, like I said, this is the Stone Cold Steve Captain America build that I've shown you here today. You see it for yourself, you like it, you can copy it, make some changes to it. There's all kind of alterations that can be made. This is what I've done here, and it's lots of fun. If you enjoy this content, please put a like in and subscribe. I'll be doing these all the time. I'll be putting more videos out. I've got more Hulk builds. I've got more people on the way. So if you like it, give it a like, and we'll see.